Hello, John.
Hello, Oliver.
And so I paid a visit down the country. I went to a place I haven't been to in about 30 years, maybe 35 years. It's County Carlow. County Carlow has a population of about 25,000 people, thereabouts. Has some lovely buildings. The town hall is very nice. I went down to the River Barrow. I seen some people fishing down there. There's a pile of swans down there. It's very scenic. I went into the town park. I also looked at the castle, which dates from I think it's from the 12th century. I was talking to a local person, and she said to me that they tried to turn it into a lunatic asylum. She said, a guy called Dr Middleton, and he ended up
Maybe he was lunatic.
he blew it to bits apparently. Yeah. So I just want to go through a
He
few
sounds
things.
like a lunatic. He sounds like a lunatic. Yeah, it was a scenic place, and the last thing, when they want to build a lunatic asylum, build it in a greenfield site, so as the people that have those problems can have some bit of scenery, something to so they can help them. But to build it where he was building it, sure he must have been light in the head here, the lights out. Because that's the last place you build a lunatic asylum in the town. You build it outside where people go, near the town. Plenty of sites. But anyways, he destroyed the scenic attraction that would have been a tourist attraction, and it could have been developed a bit better than when he blew it apart. Of course, individual, but it's a very scenic town, and there's a lot of history attached to it.
There is indeed, and there's I was looking there. They have the Dayton Memorial Hall, and that was donated by Mr. Dayton. It used to be a plumber's merchant's kind of place. Mr.
Was it the who was it
Dayton.
donated by? What?
Dayton, it was his surname as far as I know, and he donated it to be used as a parochial hall in the early 1900s, which was a nice thing to do. There was a bit of a philanthropy back then,
It was people that had money weren't going to just be too mean about it. They spread it out and did something positive like an amenity of that caliber, and that's what people that have money should do. And not keep it in a selfish way. Spread it around and do a bit of good with it. Because when you do good, it gives you a great sense of what would I call it, peace and joy. Not you do something for people. It's a great thing to do.
That's it. Now, the location of Carlow is absolutely fantastic. It's an hour from Dublin. It's near Kildare. It's near Wexford, Kilkenny, and Wicklow. You couldn't ask for a better location.
True, and it has a lot going for it. And in the normal course of events, people go to the seaside for one reason or another. But Carlow has such amenities and such scenic facilities and all the rest of it with the River Barrow, the second largest river in the country, and people can go on boats on it, and it has a very tranquil sort of surrounding area with all the sort of walks and amenities and parks. It is more going for it than many a town, and they're supposed to be scenic. Now, for example, Galway is a popular town, but Carlow, in its own way, has more going for it, in my opinion. But it's in the Midlands, and Carlow, funny enough, I don't think ever put their snout into Croke Park by way of a winning team, as far as I know. So so we're into that. Whatever they were at, that wasn't their feature. But I found it the whole town and the sort of the friendliness of the people, because I did business in that town over many years. L&N, the L&N company, that's what they were called, but they had supermarkets, quite a few of them in the Carlow and in the southeast. And of course, I did presume they were taken over or by other ones, perhaps super values there now in Carlow in the shopping centre where L&N company used to be, and people would remember that of a certain vintage. And I certainly remember it because I did great business with it. And I had there was a wholesalers in cash and carry in Carlow. And funny enough, it was a fellow from Roscommon that was either the owner or the manager. So I did good business there, needless to say, being reared and boiled for a nice period of time from me about 8 years of age to 18. So Carlow has many attractions, and I think it should be advertised more as a scenic place to relax in because with the river and all the rest of it, I always find a river very soothing and tranquil. I love to see a river, the like of the River Barrow, and there's lovely walks around along the river.
Absolutely. I would say that Carlow is probably the best located town in Ireland when you consider it's beside Wicklow, Wexford, Kilkenny, Kildare, and an hour from Dublin. You couldn't really go wrong. Now, the only thing is, one thing I did notice was it has house prices to match its location. Very expensive for house prices. Okay, you can buy a doer upper a house for 150,000, 200,000, and you'll end up spending another 100,000 on the house. But generally, a good house in Carlow is going to cost you between 300 to 500,000 euros. It's very similar to
Well,
Dublin.
that unfortunately is a black mark because you see, houses should be priced so as people that have a modest income can purchase it and rear a family. When they become that price, it's not good because perhaps both people have to work. So the business of rearing a family is then secondary in some ways. And if they have one child, maybe two is as much as they're going to have. So it doesn't augur well for the population of the town with that kind of a way. I think the people in charge there want to have a look at that kind of thing and have prices affordable. And they use the word social housing, which I detest as a phrase. It should be affordable housing for ordinary working people, be they in the clerical position or wherever they're at. And that is the rule. And it should be honoured. And people in charge in that county should be a bit more pro people, if you like, and for Irish people, so as they can afford to buy a house, but not at those prices, because the wages and the salaries wouldn't permit you to do that. So people might locate from other parts to Carlow because it's commuting distance and it's a fine county. Wicklow has all these mountains and that, and I often think Wicklow is overrated. It has Glendalough, which is very good. It has that sort of history attached to it. Glendalough St. Kevin was there in the 600s. And Carlow was a very interesting town. I think one time it was the capital of Ireland, going back to the probably early part of the centuries when it was more perhaps medieval town with these well-to-do people living in Carlow. Because you don't forget it was people could commute. Carriages were the normal mode of transport before the railways come, so it wouldn't be that far from Dublin either.
This is the thing, and it was also the second town in Ireland to get electricity. Dublin was the first. This would have been under the British Empire. So London got electricity first, then
Yeah,
Dublin, and then Carlow, which is interesting.
that's very good. And also, that put it on the map. And the thing is, Carlow has a lovely cathedral as well, which it was in, and it has a lot of important buildings that have a history attached to it. And that's the kind of a town I love. And I think you mentioned Leyland Bridge being one of the most original bridges in Europe, going back hundreds of years. And still, it was widened to take account of traffic, but it still has the structure that it had, Leyland Bridge. And that was an important historical town as well. around that neck of the woods, there's lovely historical artifacts and well worth a visit. Matter of fact, a person could spend a holiday in Carlow because there's plenty of accommodation to suit all pockets, bed and breakfast and hotels. And I've stayed in Carlow in my time, and I found it a very good town to do business in. And then you've Kilkenny. That was that was a capital. That was a confederation of Kilkenny. So you've got lovely surrounding areas and rivers and all the rest of it. And it's well worth a visit for a holiday as a tourist attraction. And it should be portrayed as that more than it is. You haven't been there for years, but I was in it umpteen times and stayed in it. There was a hotel in one of the main streets there I used to stay in. It was very nice, and you could park your car in it, and that was. I can't think of the name. I don't know whether it's a Ride Hotel. It's probably changed hands or something now. Maybe called something else. I haven't been in Cardiff for a few years. It sounds like I must pay it a visit shortly.
I'm telling you now, if I was going to move location, I think Carlow would be a place I would look at because I really do think, and I never thought it before, but I just, when you see the location and it's got all those lovely counties right beside you, you couldn't go wrong.
You couldn't go wrong. It's right. Kilkenny is a lovely city as well. The Kettlers in going back hundreds of years. Story attached to that. So there's a very interesting country around there, which I actually like. And it's underrated in some ways as regards the amenities that they have and all the rest of it. And I think it's well worth a visit for a holiday. And I would recommend anyone if they want a holiday a bit different than going to these other places that they might go down to Carlow and you won't regret it.
I think if a lot of people go down to Carlow, they won't come back because
Correct. Well,
it's
there you are, you see. It's a lovely spot. And as I say, it has everything going for it. It has the architecture, it has the history, it has that lovely cathedral which I love that cathedral. It's a very holy place by way of the stained glass windows and all that. And I love visiting it. So can see I'll be paying a visit to Carlow now in the near future. When I say the near future, probably in the next month or 6 weeks or thereabouts before the winter draws in.
very good. Okay. Thank you very much, John. That's Carlow. It's
Thanks
a
very
great
much,
location.
Oliver.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye bye.
great
Bye
location is right. Bye
bye.
now, Oliver.
Bye.